as we've already alluded to, once we find the endpoints of our optimization equation or formula, we also need to figure out the critical points because that's the only places where the absolute extreme values can occur. In this case, for example, we wanted to produce a box with maximum volume. So for step 6, we will be determining the critical points in order to hopefully find a value that might be an extreme value. In this case, again, we want a box with maximum volume. So how do you find the critical points? Well, look at your optimization equation. Remember, critical points where the derivative equals 0 or doesn't exist. So when you take the derivative, this is what we ended up with when we simplified. When you take the derivative of this equation and figure out where it equals 0, it's going to exist everywhere since it's a polynomial. So the derivative is going to be constant multiple rule 27 minus, and then we're going to use the power rule here. It'd be minus 3x squared over 4, which is 3 squared over 4, or 3/4 x squared. So set this equal to 0, the derivative. Solve for x. I didn't have time to show this, but basically didn't have room rather. You would subtract 27, multiply both sides by negative 4/3, and take the square root, and you get plus or minus 6. Now you can't have a negative base. Remember, x represents the base of this box. So it's got to be positive 6. So 6 is going to be a critical value. You remember you plug that back into the original equation to figure out your critical points. So plug in 6 for x there. And you get 108. So again, we want to ignore x equals negative 6. So one of your critical points is going to be 6, 108. And you can kind of already see what's going on here. Because our endpoints yielded 0, 0 volume when we made either x0 or x equals square root of 108. Since we only have one critical point, you can kind of already see what our answer is going to be. You do want to make the base equal to 6 of your box. And you must get a maximum value of 108 since that's your only critical point, and this y value is bigger than your endpoint. Anyways, we'll get to that later. Just wanted to give you a heads up on that. Moving to example 2, we want to find a minimum amount of area using 10 inches of whatever to make this triangle and this square. We determined our endpoints to be 0, 6.25, so that means you don't use the triangle at all. And then 10/3, 4.8, meaning you use all the triangle but not the square. But we want a minimum amount of area, and we also need to figure out a critical points for step 6 because we might end up with an area that's smaller with one of our critical values. So we're going to take the derivative of our original equation, not original I should say, optimization equation. So we have to take a derivative of this and then figure out the critical values. So here's going to be our derivative, a prime, be using the power rule mixed with the chain rule right here because we have to multiply by negative 3 once we move the 2 down. So there it is, a prime is equal to square root of 3 over 2, x minus 3/8, 10 minus 3x. Okay, so I just did some simplification there. Set that equal to 0 to figure out our critical values. Solve for x. You would basically combine these. Well, actually, you would distribute the minus 3/8 and then get x by itself. Anyways, I got x equals 1.8834516088. And I plugged that back into my original optimization equation. And I got an area of 2.71852823. So when x is 1.88, which is the side length of my triangle that I used, then I will have a total area, including the triangle and the square, of 2.718. It's kind of funny because that's equal to e, but anyways. Again, we can see that this is smaller than our endpoints, so this will be our optimization value. But anyways, we'll get to that in our next steps. Again, step 6 is just to determine the critical points, because at critical points, there may indeed be an absolute min or max. All right, let's look at example 3 of an apartment building. We want to maximize monthly profit. In order to do that, again, we need to find the critical points of our formula. In this particular example, here is our formula where our monthly profit is based on how much we charge for rent in this equation, which would be a quadratic, by the way. We find our endpoints. If we charge 1,000, we would make 26,000 a month, and if we charge 2,200 for rent, we're not going to make any money. So critical points, again, for step 6 are found by taking the derivative of the original. So again, here's the original. The derivative, we would just use the power rule with the constant multiple rule. So we're going to move this 2 down, and then this is going to be plus 58. This will turn to 0. Move the 2 down, plus 58. So it's negative 1/20th r plus 58 equals p prime. By the way, what does that mean? It's the rate in which your profit is changing with respect to how much you're charging for rent. Okay, so we're going to set that equal to 0 to figure out the critical values. All you have to do actually is subtract 58 and then multiply by negative 20 to get 1,160. So that is a critical value. We are going to plug 1160 back into the original. And again, I don't have room to show that, but if you plug 1160 back in for R, you'll get a monthly profit of $27,040. Here's a critical point. And again, if you compare that with your endpoints, you'll see that this critical value yields more profit. It yields $27,040, which is actually a little bit more money than if you keep it at the base price of 1,000. So you're going to end up making a little bit more money if you charge $11.60 for rent. So at this point, again, you can compare the critical point with the endpoints to see which one gives you, the most. That's going to lead us to step 7, which we've already alluded to. We'll just look at that next as far as in chart form. If you have any other questions about determining critical points of the optimization equation, let me know.